Hello! Having finished your very last day in the Same Life New Choices group, I thought I would send you a brief video every day for the next 3 or 4 days. Something that gives you a little bit of a touchstone to come back to remind you of what you've learned and also where you might go from here, right? Um, the first thing I want to do today is to give you a few things that are kind of like hooks. You know, they're a roadmap for how you might continue to explore this, and where to go from here, from where we finished yesterday, is to come back to the original 4 modules of this program, right? So I'll talk you through each of those places. So you know, if you have a time when you're in a bit of a funk or where the distress level is a little bit high, you have a map with which to navigate that time. Okay, so the first module that we had was called stress, and that's a piece I really want you to pay attention to, because when you're stressed or distressed or upset, you will magnify the size of the problems in the world, and you will minimize your personal sense of capacity or resourcefulness to handle the problems in your life or the dreams in your life or the goals in your life. So you want to become quite sensitive to when you're operating out of stress, when you don't need to, right? Because that will diminish your capacity to take action in the world. It will diminish your capacity to have insight. It will diminish your capacity to find new ways of seeing things or doing things. So that's the first piece, the management, the awareness of stress. And to see, I mean, we did some grounding processes like putting your hands here and taking a breath and coming back to yourself. So those are some ways that you can kind of take a mini break, a micro 20, 30-second break that reminds you to come back to yourself and to operate from that new place rather than from the old place where all the baggage is. Okay, so that's point number one. Point number two is all of the work we did around conditioning, particularly for all the girls in this program, the good girl conditioning. We did a lot of work around that, and I want us to move forward with that awareness, which is a twofold kind of awareness. It's an awareness that, oh, I'm operating out of a ton of conditioning. And so being willing to ask this question, who does this belong to? And if it's not yours in this moment, to make a choice out of what is you in this moment, right? And the other part, to be gentle with yourself and others as you see this in operation, right? You see that, oh, I operate out of, even despite my best intentions, I operate out of my conditioning a lot. And so to be gentle with myself and with other people, it's what we learn to do to survive in our families, in our culture. We learn as children to be appropriate to our conditioning, right? So to both be aware, be willing to ask, who does this belong to, and take a fresh choice, and be willing to be gentle with yourself and others. That brings me to the third piece, which is called shadow awareness. So this conditioning and shadow is very connected, right? Because whatever your conditioning says is bad, unacceptable, rude, undesirable, goes into your shadow. So that you are never allowed for anyone to ever think you're selfish, you're greedy, you're needy, you want to be rich, you want to sell stuff. Oh, that is in the bucket of shadow, right? So that's one super important piece to realize, that the stuff that the conditioning, that your conditioning says is bad or undesirable or wrong, goes into your shadow. So become aware of that. Become aware of how much is in your shadow that are just healthy human traits, right? The desire for boundaries, to say I want, to ask for what I want, to want things, to speak things. Those are fundamental human capabilities. And much of that is in the shadow for many of us, right? And the other piece is to realize when people get triggered by you, they're getting triggered by their shadow, by their own shadow material. It's not related to you. It's related to the fact that something you're expressing in that moment is a forbidden quality for them, right? So learn to have this dual perspective, both awareness of my own shadow and awareness that, oh, my being, myself, and the way I express myself triggers shadow material in people, just stuff that's unprocessed in them. and that that's not really about me. I happen to be the person or situation triggering it in this moment, but that lives in them, right? So we want to become a little bit sensitive to that. And the fourth and final piece, the fourth module in our program was called Strut. And that has everything to do with the power of asking, or of owning your ask, of asking, who does this belong to, of being aware of shadow and conditioning, and my shadows around envy and power. So all of that comes together to form my capacity to strut, to show myself in the world, to be seen, and to say, yeah, that's me, come, try what I have to offer. It's amazing, right? So the capacity to strut is a kind of synthesis of all of the stuff we have done in this program in the other three modules. So I hope this is a good starting point. I hope this gives you both a little summary as well as a little roadmap to navigate the next time you are at a stage that you're going back to your conditioning, or you want to just recap what you learned, or you're feeling a little bit stuck. I hope this is a good roadmap. Be in touch. Bye.